Education and children have been my passion all my life. I have always been an advocate and a mentor, for social justice, especially for all children, but especially the ones who come from, poverty and lack of privilege, and the ones who don't have a voice in society. So I have done that since I was 15 years old in different projects and the different hats, and I have been a teacher in a sense, since always, in many different settings. I obtained I am married to an American, so I'm here. And I went through the process of, I work, I have to say, under the auspices of Stanford and Berkeley as a clinical psychologist in Auckland General Hospital and different other projects with being a director of training at the university in Europe. And I look into, having to have a job and an income. I was not a Fulbright scholar anymore. So I ended up working in the schools. Someone said to me, well, with all your bilingual, and linguistic abilities, they can use you. And I was very excited because I thought I could just, implement some of the programs I have done before in Europe, working with immigrants, with poor people, and it's not that complicated. And this country is very wealthy, very rich. I have done many things, even, in my youth in Spain. I'm old, so, in a country that didn't have all the resources that you have, with lots of success. So I just don't get it. I think I get it now that the system does not want to change. And there are all these agendas and all these billionaires and all these things, and that's why things seem so complicated. And they are dividing us up. And we are becoming like, teachers against teachers, teachers against parents. We're all, the working class, as you were mentioning before, we're all of us. The children are the future of this country, the next generation. And we are creating a second-class citizenship. That's what I see, especially with minority kids. And again, I am really, when I came here, now I understand about all this racial and all the history and all these other things, after I have spent, a number of years here, but I never saw people, with you're this race, you're this color, it divides us. It really is dividing us up. But, coming back to the children, I guess I was higher, I understand now, I think, not because they really cared about my competency or my skills or whatever. They just wanted basically a check mark on some list that says, okay, the government says, the law says that you're required to have a bilingual psychologist to do bilingual assessments that are mandated by federal and state law. And I was very excited. I thought they really wanted my opinion in how to implement and make education better for all children. Unfortunately, I have discovered, several times that the minute I opened my mouth, the minute I really tried to change things, basically I was attacked viciously. The last time, I have to tell you, I was helping actually a group of concerned parents. They came to me because they trusted me because, I have worked and helped them with their children. They brought other parents. They were trying to organize themselves. This is a very corrupt district that I did not know that, but before I arrived there, they had been investigated 2 years by the grand jury for similar allegations, the similar things I witnessed, that the parents were coming to me. And they included things so horrible as, forging their signatures on an IEP. An IEP is a special, I don't know if you're familiar, but it's a special plan, educational plan for children with special needs. Well, they found out, once they learned about their rights, and they started to, demand records of their children's folders and educational dossiers, they started to see that some of the signatures were forged. They had never been at that meeting. They didn't even know the people at that meeting at that time. So anyway, this is just something so outrageous to me. And it has not been investigated, by the way. But anyway, so they came to me. I helped them. I helped them because this is the obligation of the educational system. We receive, as the public school receive money from the government, from the feds, from the state. to do certain things, including, involving the parents, especially when the schools are Title I and they are low income and, and I guess in some places do not want to do it. They don't want the parents to know what is going on. They don't want the public to know what is going on. And I guess someone is pocketing the taxpayers' money, our money, the children's money, the parents' money. So I was a witness for them. They filed a complaint with the U.S. Department of Education. There was a federal investigation. They did not investigate everything because of the statute of limitations. They only have like a 6-month window, but they investigated 2 major issues. They started with the parents. They said, yes, the district is in violation of the children's rights and the money, because it's not just the children's rights. It is the money allocated to those particular programs that was not being used properly. And I was a witness for them, and as a consequence, I had been retaliated against. I have been attacked. I have been fired for being a whistleblower, I guess. In my opinion, it's for doing my job, but I guess for having integrity, I guess they don't see it that way. And they have not, I was fired with a due process. I'm still in litigation. And not only that, they went after my professional license. So I have to say this is the 3rd time they have tried to do this to me. And I'm getting tired because, the 2nd time, I thought, it was much easier, I guess, because it was, I had been there for less than a year, and it was after I wrote a letter to the school board with my concerns about, I'm basically telling them, I want to resign. I don't want to participate in this, crime and educational neglect of these children. And you should be concerned because, there's advocacy groups out there, and you think that you can basically do what you want with these parents because they're poor, they don't speak English, et cetera, but, this is wrong. This is a violation of the law, and this is morally wrong because these are children, and they are precious beings, and this is the future. You're basically destroying their future. So I was victorious the first 2 times. Now it's the 3rd time, and they're bringing the past. And I have been bad-mouthed. Probably maybe you have even heard about me because it sounds like everybody. I went to the union, disowned me. They're not, they have even. I'm discovering now they have even done things very wrong to me. Because I'm discovering more and more, my rights have been violated to an extreme, unthinkable. Because some, that's why the union also needs to be held accountable. Because in some places they work, they're powerful, they work, they do their job right. In some other places they're not. And we need to have teachers who are well-trained. Some of them are wonderful, but some of them are not. They go to these University of Phoenix and emergency and whatever. The first time when at this last district, the first time I arrived there, I did not know that, okay? I would not have gone and worked for them. I didn't know about the grand jury investigations. I didn't know that they were out of compliance and under the gun to lose their funding for special education because of the serious violations, continuously over the last few CCRs, the compliance reviews. They had like 156 IPs out of compliance. This is a small district. Maybe they had no, I have to look at my records, but they didn't have more than 400 students in special ed, while 156 IEPs were out of compliance. One of the schools where I was assigned that first year, they had 56 out of compliance. None of the 5 teachers in special education that I work with were credentialed. They have been there for several years, so I assume that they first were on a waiver, then maybe emergency credential, I don't know, because they still did not have a full credential. And they were calling the shots, and they were just violating the law right and left. And there was a new director of special ed. I thought, oh, she seemed to be really backing me up because, she needed to clean the place, and I was helping her. And, I had two beautiful principals I work with that, to this day, they're still backing me up, thank God. But then there was change in the administration, then they were forced out because they were too pro-children, too pro-good teachers, too pro-families. So, out you go. And I thought I was protected because I was tenured. This time I was tenured. Thought, okay, they cannot do to me what they did before. Hey, no, wrong. The minute, some of my friends who were good teachers left because, the atmosphere was not good. And some of those uncredentialed teachers were the union reps in the local union. So that's why I was attacked, I guess, because I was an inconvenient witness for everyone. And here I am, still surviving, trying to keep my sense of humor, and I need help. Now I need help for me. I have been, for a long time, I was just knocking on on many doors for the children, because that's what has been my motivation. My motivation is the children, especially those neglected children in our society. And I have to tell you, in public schools right now, the statistics from 2004, I don't know the current statistics, where 50% of all children in California public schools are Hispanic. 50%. 1 out of 2 of those children do not graduate from high school. And this is, to me, is outrageous, and in this beautiful, wonderful country, wealthy country, lands of opportunities, we have that. And I think people should care because this is the next generation. And we're creating basically, all these problems with gangs and dropouts and all that. And I think, teachers are, many teachers are overwhelmed because, they have an unfair burden, placed on them when we have all these corrupt administrators. And one last thing I want to say, like, for instance, the last administrator, the last director of special ed I worked under before I was pushed out for like 3 months, she was hired without a full teaching credential, without, of course, an administrative credential. I think she went to one of those Chapman University or some of those. She went to Thailand 2 summers, intensive 2 weeks to get her administrative credential. I mean, basically a paid vacation. And I don't know who she was friends with. Yes. Yes, that's it. So anyway, there's a lot of information I can give, but that's
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very much. And we have to hear these stories because these are the stories of what's happening really on the ground floor to people in the state of California in education. It's our children that we're talking about.